Inspire, host, create, explore endless new possibilities, next level broadcasting. If you haven't heard about Anchor by Spotify, it's the easiest way to make a podcast with everything you need all in one place. Let me explain. Anchor has tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. When hosting on Anchor, you can distribute your podcast on listening platforms like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and so many more. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. And best of all, Anchor is totally free. Download the Anchor app or go to Anchor FM to get started. So I'm back to talk about what I'm really excited about talking about because I find it so interesting. I told you guys that I'd come across a lot of content from the History Channel. But today we're going to focus on ancient aliens, the Satan conspiracy. And I believe it to be season 6, episode 5. Now, I did it in installments. I didn't sit continuously and watch it. I watched it a little bit here, took some notes, a little bit there, took some notes, and just like to digest it. Okay. Of course, after I watched it, I started to come across other content from the History Channel, as well as other related videos, like I spoke of previously about a lot of videos and documentaries that have they are acknowledging the Bible, and they're acknowledging God, Jesus, the fallen angels, demons, and aliens, and they have merged them together. They've merged them together. So for the first time, maybe for you guys, maybe you've seen this stuff all along. I haven't. I didn't know that this was out here. That people who believed in, I guess what you would say, science, and the prospect of aliens. And I've seen my share of movies, documentaries. I've watched them. I found them to be entertaining. I'm not against them. I wouldn't say that. I was always unsure up until this point, at some point, of the existence of aliens. I was not closed off to it. I can't really tell you why. Now, my thoughts are different, I'll be honest with you. But I do like the whole process of thinking. Even if it's someone, like I said, has a different viewpoint than my own, and they see things differently, I don't see a problem with listening and conversing and thinking about their points, So I sat down, and for this Ancient Aliens, the Satan Conspiracy, because for me, this was the first time I ever seen anything like this, where they actually acknowledged. And I'd seen other stuff too, on the History Channel, in which they acknowledged Moses parting the Red Sea. They had found the chariots and different things down at the bottom of the Red Sea. They acknowledged it. I had never seen that before. So we're at a point in history, in mankind's history, in which different sources and different schools of thought, they're acknowledging biblical events, okay, in a certain way. I don't know if that makes sense. And I found that to be very, like I said, interesting. But this particular one really got me. Really, I was like, I'm going to sit through this one and I'm going to write down some points. So from right out the gate, when I first started to watch it, right away they said some things. So I'm gonna break this up into parts. I'm gonna try not to do overly talk. I'm gonna try to be conscious of how long I'm on here, and try not to make each segment or episode too long as I break it down. So, okay, the key points, I wrote it down. Is Satan trying to liberate us from ignorance and helping us obtain forbidden knowledge? So that's the first key point. So let's look at that. So from what I could gather is that Satan, and they're saying it without directly saying it, which is interesting. Their presentation is very, I have to give them a nod on that one. They're saying it without saying it. It's that Satan it wasn't a rebellion. It wasn't a rebellion. He wasn't thrown out. Okay. It was kind of what they kept saying, the same word, liberate and liberation. And they gave me the feeling that, yes, Satan, okay, and God had a dialogue about the forbidden knowledge. And that Satan was fighting for us because he wanted us to come out of ignorance, to come out of the dark. And he felt that we should have this forbidden knowledge. Now we're going to go to the tree, okay, and Adam and Eve, okay, and what went down in the Garden of Eden. He felt that she should have it, and Adam. And that basically, this is my take, is that God was holding them back. He wanted to keep Adam and Eve in a childlike state, and that they needed to know this. And he was willing to be exiled or liberated from heaven, that he actually wanted to leave. It wasn't like how the Bible, lays it out. I guess that's what part of the conspiracy is in there. And basically Satan is showing us that we need to be our own gods. Wow. And then toward the end of one part of the section, when I first started to watch it, because it was like I wanted to watch a little bit and, and digest it, intellectually, mentally digest it. And they left at the end of when I first watched it, they posed the question, I don't know, it's this, the people on there, they said ancient astronaut theorists. Okay, that they kept speaking of these scholars as ancient astronaut theorists on the show, asked, is Satan really bad? Now, what I find interesting about this is that this ties in with what I talked about in a previous episode with the after school Satan Club. Okay, and they were saying in the Satan Club, I told you that they had a flyer that I'd seen on a YouTube channel, and a particular school that actually is participating in it. And they had some of the things that they showed. They said that this after school Satan Club had to do with compassion, and it had to do with science. Okay, they were not trying to convert any of the children to be Satanists, but they had these like children's songs and jingles, and they also had a coloring book that showed the pentagram. They showed little kids holding hands. They had Baphomet. They had all this other stuff. This is what they were saying in the jingle. They were saying that Satan is really the good guy. He's not a bad guy. Okay? He's good. What do you guys think about that? What do you think about that? It really seems like And the other stuff that I told you I'd been coming across